Hey there, you're watching the Jessa channel on YouTube. I'm Jessa, and this is a review of Luna the Shadow Dust. Luna the Shadow Dust is a hand-painted point-and-click puzzle adventure game by Lantern Studios. And I should think it's Lantern Studio with no S, Lantern Studio. And this game, gorgeous. It is hand painted and it is a piece of art. It is gorgeous. And to show you that, I am going to show you some screenshots from the game while I give you my review of Luna the Shadow Dust. So where do I start with this game? I'll give you the premise of the game, which is that you are playing as Yuri, who is here on the right, and his companion, Laya. Layh. I actually went to Lantern Studio on Twitter and I asked them how to pronounce these characters' names. And so I hope I have done it correctly. They actually gave me a written answer. I hoped that they would record something that would tell me how to pronounce them. And if you still do this, Lantern Studios, I will applaud you because it will help people who in the future who want to play your game and talk about your game to be able to talk about the characters without butchering their names. Yuri is spelled U with, I believe it's called an umlaut, 2 dots over the U, R-I. Uri. So from what they said, that I think that's pronounced Yuri. I hope so. In any case, Yuri is a boy who, when the story begins, is falling from the sky. He lands in a desolate area and needs to make his way up a tower. Some few levels up the tower, he ends up meeting with Laya here, who is got some special skills that she can do. Yuri, when I first played this game was a few years ago when the developers put out a demo and first started to unveil to the world Luna the Shadow Dust. And I played the demo on the channel and thought that the boy, Yuri, was a female all along. So just so you know, Yuri is male. Yuri and his companion Laya have to solve a number of puzzles as they move up the tower, with the most challenging puzzle being the topmost level. But it's not just about puzzles. And this is one reason why I played this game, because those of you guys who've been watching the Jessa channel for any amount of time, longer than, say, the last year or so, know that I detest puzzles. I really, really do not like puzzles. Why did I play Luna the Shadow Dust? Because the story is beautiful. It is the last game that made me feel this sense of happy joy with tears on top is the Minims. I love the Minims, and I'm going to put a link to the Minims playlist on screen right now, but also this game is just, it's got that same serene beauty, quirkiness in an entirely different way than the Minims, but still, and a very heartfelt game. It can actually be played with your youngsters, as you could walk through them with the game, and I think you could play this with a child as young as 3 and still be able to, as long as you were playing that, helping the child solve the puzzles or solving them yourself while the child watched and the story unfold. But yeah, the Minims is a beautiful game, and it is, I'm going to show you some other slides here because I just want to show you this, some of the incredible, there we go. So this slide was, this particular room was my favorite. You got to actually using teamwork. And that's really what the game was about, is about, in order to solve the mystery of the tower, Yuri and Laya had to work together. And so the puzzles cannot be solved. Many of them cannot be solved one without the other. And so in this particular slide, we got to actually go in a book, and every single level of the tower is to the point where when you cross through the door, there's a sense of anticipation. What's going to be next? What's going to be the next room? This game also gets kudos because it is the only game that I've ever played where a puzzle has been solved by shoving a gigantic rotund mouse across a floor and then jumping on him. The mouse was not injured in the making of Luna the Shadow Dust, do not worry. But the puzzles were quirky and well designed and interesting. And so, and they weren't too hard except for the final puzzle, which I do have a few cons about the game. But as far as the positives of the game, another positive is the soundtrack. I'm going to let you listen to some of the soundtrack right now, just so you can hear the beauty of this. Whoever did the soundtrack for this game, I give you a standing ovation. I mean, come on, y'all. Come on, how beautiful is that? The soundtrack, and everything so perfect, and there's lots of tracks to the soundtrack, so nothing gets repetitive in the music, and so that is really, really nicely done. And this game, there are some games that come out that are just wonderfully done and you enjoy them, but this game is an experience. And what about the replayability? The replayability of this game is actually, you could play it through twice. I mean, you could play it through as much as you want, and I could see why you would, because you just want to experience the beauty again. It's one of those games that you want to come back to like a comfortable pair of pajamas or your favorite book and just go through the experience again. However, the replayability as far as what you may have missed is concerned, where that is concerned, would be the story is told all in pictures. And until you get to the end, you're not going to understand some of the imagery that you see in some of the lower levels of the tower. So it's neat to go back and play it again, knowing what happened and why Yuri was in the position that he was in, and to play it again. So there is a plus for the replayability, besides just the pure comfort food aspect of it. But no game is perfect, and this one has a few flaws. One is regarding the replayability of the game. The only thing I can say is once you've played through it, the animation is wonderfully done. The walk style of Yuri and Laya, how Laya jumps up a ladder, for example, so cute. So cute. However, also, once you have to walk from one end of the room to the other, particularly in some of the later puzzles where you have to kind of walk a lot, or in some cases even fly a lot, it would be nice if there was some sort of double click to move here or double click to run or something like that, because I could see that could get a little bit tedious. However, this game is obviously not for speed demons. It's not a game to be rushed. It's a game to be savored. So that's a very minor little quibble. But a more major quibble is the final puzzle. So the final puzzle of the game is, this is actually in the beginning of the game, but the final puzzle of the game involves a clock. And when Laya first jumps into one particular section of that puzzle, of the process of solving the puzzle, the clue for the clock puzzle, which comes later on, is right there. However, it doesn't look like a clock at all. It doesn't look like a puzzle. It doesn't look like it's a clue. So I could easily see people being very frustrated because you go on with the puzzle and they designed it so that as you solve the puzzle, you actually mess up the clue. So you can't see the clue again unless you go back and undo everything you just did, which is super frustrating. So I can see that kind of backing and forthing. I know I just said that the person who designed these puzzles, did a great job, except for that one. Any puzzle, especially when you want to see the story, what happened, you've gotten all the way to the top, you've worked your way all the way up there, Yuri's about to find out, the whole story's about to unfold, and yet you have to go through this puzzle where, oh crap, the clue was all the way back there, now I have to go back and redo everything, is not fun. So that was a big kind of no. But it was, there are walkthroughs, that's all I'll say, on the internet, just to save you that pain if you don't want to. And also, when I played through the game, I gave you a heads up that this is what could happen. And when I solve the puzzle, I show you how to avoid that happening. So if you get stuck, you can just go back, watch the last episode, watch up to where I show you that tip, and then stop watching until you play through the game yourself if you get stuck. So this area right here, though, I really want to talk about. This was beautiful because some of the puzzle was solved by Laia needing to use special talents, and you could tell that she was a magical creature. She had really unique and fun things that she could do. And speaking of puzzles that drove me a little bit nuts, there's actually one that involved this one right here, but before that, let me go back for a minute, because this particular section was so unique. Kudos for how this was solved. And how each character got turned and animated, that was really neat. I'm trying to give you the review without spoiling the puzzle, so when you play through it yourself, you'll be surprised. But this was gorgeous. It was a seasons puzzle, and it actually ended up playing into the story later on in a later cutscene, which I was really tickled to see. That was pretty. It wasn't just, these puzzles weren't just backdrops for puzzle's sake. They were part of Yuri's life. And so each of them had a lot of meaning. But this particular puzzle was a timed puzzle. This is the only other puzzle that annoyed me, and I had to finish it. I had to try and complete it a couple times. And in a game which so heavily seems to send out the vibe of relax, lay back, tuck yourself in, here's a beautiful story. To put a timed puzzle in that, totally not cool. Even though they gave you time, but still it was timed. It gave me a sense of stress to the point where I was like, phew, I'm glad that's over. I won't ever want to do that again. And that's really not what you want people to feel. When I was in other puzzles, like this beautiful puzzle that we're coming back to the beginning here, I wanted to do that again because I loved seeing how it unfolded, is the best way to put that. So those are the cons of the game. But overall, I just got to tell you, this game is wonderful. It's also reasonably priced. I think it's $19.99. I want to say, I should have checked, but I think that's the price. And if that is the price, it's very fairly priced. But I remember when I looked at the price, I was like, that you definitely get, and it's actually a short game in that it's about 3 hours to complete. So you don't get a lot of hours for that, but you get a lot of depth for that. And there is replayability, as I mentioned before. So it absolutely is worth full price, from my opinion. And so, what is my score for Luna the Shadow Dust? Well, I don't think it's too hard to guess. Luna the Shadow Dust is a fantastic game. It is beautiful. It is memorable. It is relaxing. It is wonderful. And it is 5 stars. Lantern Studio, you knocked it out the park. And I can't wait to see what you come up with next. And you do things that make indie gaming what it really is about, which is tiptoeing through the tulips of just, you've done a good job. This is a masterpiece of a game. And that takes me to my next game that we're playing here on the Jessa channel, Luna the Shadow Dust. This is episode 7. This is the completion of Luna the Shadow Dust. I want to know what you thought of Luna the Shadow Dust in the comments below. But what are we playing next? Lila's like, let me show you. You're gonna love it. Enjoy.
Wintermore Tactics Club. My name is Alicia. I wouldn't fit in anywhere at Wintermore Academy if it wasn't for Tactics Club. It's like my home. But now the principal is threatening to disband us, and every other club, unless we can win a snowball tournament. I know, it seems impossible for nerds like us. The other clubs seem so much stronger. But we have a secret weapon, our imagination. We can become the heroes we play in our games. We can use our tactics and our wits. We can reach out to new friends and invite them to join the club. And maybe we can find out what's really going on in this school. Together, we can save Tactics Club. Wintermore Tactics Club, now available.
That's right. We are playing Wintermore Tactics Club. And this is such a cute, quirky game. And it's, I really enjoy this game. It's got some great humor, and the play style, the play of the game is very simple, but it's still got a lot to interest you, keep you interested, particularly if you love D&D, which I love D&D. So it is a great game to, if you really enjoy D&D, I highly recommend watching this playthrough and finding out about the mystery that happened regarding the Wintermore Tactics Club. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this episode. If you enjoyed what you saw, please hit the thumbs up button below. And if you loved it, join the party and subscribe. I'll see you back here for more awesome Wintermore, the Tactics Club, up next on the Jessa channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching.